Welcome to Lesson 6 of Module 5. Today I'll be talking about blog commenting and why it's such a necessary part of building a successful affiliate site. So, why do we use blog commenting? Well, there's two main reasons. First off, it's a great tactic for building relationships and traffic. Leaving thoughtful comments can actually build your relationships with other site owners, which can lead to writing guest posts or mentions on other blogs or co-creating a product or many other types of opportunities. Here's a good example. When Tung started his blog, Cloud Living, he regularly left comments on Spencer Hawes' blog, Niche Pursuits, which gave him a little bit of name recognition, right? If you comment on somebody's blog enough, they'll start to recognize your name. That eventually resulted in Tung actually being interviewed on Spencer's blog, which was a great opportunity. Tung also tended to be the first to comment on basically every new blog post, and they were thoughtful, long comments that he was writing, not just, quick or pointless comments, and this actually gave him thousands of referral visitors. The second reason to comment on their blogs is in order to build a natural link profile. Now, if you remember, links from blog comments don't actually help with rankings by themselves because they're no-follow links, which don't actually affect rankings. But you still include them because their actual purpose is to aid in the dilution of your anchor text profile and make it look more natural. Because remember, as we talked about in the basics of link building, because if you remember in our overview of link building, if you have only do-follow links and you don't use enough variety of anchor text, for example, and you make things too consistent and you don't have link diversity, that can be a massive red flag for Google. Okay, so how do we find blogs to comment on? Well, for starters, remember your list from the Top Experts campaigns in Lesson 5? Well, you can start with these relevant blogs. You can also use Google to find blogs in your niche as well. And then once you drag it up to your bookmarks bar, and it might work a little bit differently if you're using a different type of browser, this is currently Chrome, then you can just click on it and use it here. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck does this exactly do? Well, the idea is that it helps you quickly save URLs from a search in Google very, very quickly rather than manually copying and pasting them in a spreadsheet one by one, which takes forever, especially if you're doing it for 100 different sites. So you can see here, if we search for skincare, for example, all we gotta do is click this button. And then bam, we have a whole bunch of listings, and we can go to this plain listing section here, and we've got all of the URLs all in one place. And so we don't have to go through, otherwise we'd have to go through copy, paste, and it would take forever. Now, we want to actually maximize this process, so there's a couple things we can do to allow us to grab even more different websites even faster. So you're going to want to go to search settings here on the right side of Google, and you're going to want to change your search results to show 100 rather than just 10. Now, this will allow us to grab, rather than just 10 results at once, we can actually grab 100 then. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do before you're allowed to change this bar is to change this option to never show instant results, which then allows you to move this bar, and then you just slide it up, and now we've got 100 search results, and every time we search in Google. Now, you might want to turn this back off after you go through this process, because it'll slow down your searches in Google in the future for your everyday use, but for now, it's going to be very, very helpful. Okay, so once you do that, don't forget to scroll down and hit save. And then now, when we try and search for skincare, we now have a whole long list at once. So when we hit this button, it now gives us a list of, over 100 different websites that we can save all at once as well. Now, we've also, if you remember in the last lesson, we went through the process of already finding different lists of blogs as well and different search operators you can use in Lesson 5 as we went through the Top Experts campaign. So the next way we can do this is actually to use our spreadsheet that we've created for you, which is the blog commenting link tracker. Now, the way you use this is you simply enter in your keyword here. So if we enter in skincare, you can see that if we change that, it changes this here. So if we make this skincare, or whatever your keyword is, it'll automatically populate these search operators that you can then use, and it'll help us find blogs that we want to comment on. So again, this works with any keyword that you need, and it'll automatically populate. So if we change this to acne, then we've got the automatic search operators here that are made for us, and all we gotta do is copy and paste them into Google. So now what this does is these different search operators are designed to find blogs that we can comment on that are related to acne, and these have these terms here that are designed to find blogs that we're allowed to comment on, so they're good for commenting campaigns. So now every time you search for one of these operators from this list, all we have to do is hit this button right here. And now we have 100 results for each of them that we searched for. And using this plain listing box here, we can just go through, copy all of them, take out the Java void at the end, copy, go to our tracking document, and paste it in here. And then, of course, we're going to want to keep track of when we've commented on these blogs most recently. We don't want to, spam them and comment on them multiple times within the same day or week or what have you. But this way we can keep track on the ones that we've commented on, or the ones that we still need to comment on, or the most recent date that we've commented, so we can go back and check and, for the next post, comment on the next one. So the next and final step for this is just to go through one by one and leave a comment. Now, in terms of doing this as efficiently as possible, of course, this is something that you can get some support with. People have VAs do this all the time. However, most VAs won't leave good comments. So if you remember, we've talked about some qualities of a good comment that'll actually be effective. So if you're going to get support with this, I would recommend not using just a cheap VA to do it, but instead, training a writer who's a good writer to do something, because they'll actually understand how to leave a good comment much more effectively than some random low-skilled VA. So, and definitely make sure that any comment which is left is, of course, always helpful and useful and not overly self-promotional, using the tips that we're talking about in this lesson. Okay, now you've found your blogs. Follow these tips for getting the best results from your blog commenting campaign. First, you're going to go to gravatar.com and sign up for it with your main email. This will allow your profile picture to be displayed when you comment on other blogs. This makes things more personal and actually makes you stand out and increases your name recognition. It might be tempting, but this is important to never put any keywords in the comments name field, because it's super spammy. If you've ever actually run a blog in the past, you've seen this all the time, and it's the #1 indicator that you've gotten a spam comment. So you're going to be using only your name or your brand name. Otherwise, your comment will likely be blocked as spam, and you might get banned from ever posting from your IP address, for example. Now, these aren't going to be pointless, short, frivolous comments. You're going to want to make sure your comments are thoughtful and they add value. This gives you the best chance of getting approved, and also makes people more likely to actually click through your comments to any links you might have. So even though we said you shouldn't put, for example, keywords in the name field, you can insert URLs that you want to promote, but you're going to want to make sure that it's towards the end of your comment and it's contextually relevant, so it doesn't look spammy, right? You shouldn't say, hey, go buy my product, here's all the URLs. But instead, if you said, hey, here's my thoughts on this topic, and then towards the end you say, hey, I also wrote a really awesome blog post that talks about this other element of the same topic in case anybody wants to read it, then it's contextually relevant, but also promotes your own site as well. To wrap things up, I'll leave you with some homework tasks to take action on what you've learned today. I want you to go ahead and create your list of blogs in your niche, and you're going to be following the steps that I've been outlining in this lesson. Then, each day, I'd like you to go through and comment on 5 to 10 of those blogs. Remember, your goal is to build relationships and backlinks, so do your best to write quality comments that add value for the reader and the blog owner. Take 30 minutes first thing every day in the morning, and you'll be able to quickly start building initial traction over the coming week. Now, stay tuned for lesson 7 on guest posting. It's a fun one.